Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to the craziest weather games in NFL history. Now, I think I read somewhere that the NFL games go ahead pretty much no matter the weather unless there is lightning. I think lightning is the only weather event that will stop an NFL game. Let me know if that's true or not. Like, I've seen pictures of NFL games being played in super thick snow, icy conditions, torrential rain, just, you know, I admire that though. I think it's great because at the end of the day, the fans pay great money, really good money to, you know, watch these games, watch their teams. And the NFL season, I think it's only, is it 4 or 5 months of the year? I think the Super Bowl is played in February, right? And the season starts in September, I think. So it's not a very long season. So, you know, the games, I'm sure people really look forward to them. So I'm sure that, you know, the fans appreciate the fact that their teams go out there, come rain or shine, they're going to play the game. And this video here, I know it's going to be cool just to see these players, you know, out there in the snow and stuff. It's going to be mad. Let's do it.
You can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. Weather has left its mark on some of the biggest moments in NFL history that changed the complexion of the league forever. Today, we count down the 10 craziest weather games in NFL history.
Rain, dude.
The Graupel Game. The Great Lakes don't spare anyone. As the Raiders left the dry desert of...
That is a gorgeous stadium. I like that. That black...
Las Vegas, they had no clue what they were walking into. It was a wet and wild game against Cleveland. Temperatures opening at 40 degrees. 40 miles per hour wind put the chill around 20 degrees below freezing. The result? Sleeting rain, or Graupel. Now, before you go click on a new tab, here's the definition of Graupel. Granular snow pellets. Basically, soft hail. On the opening drive, Raiders kicker Daniel Carlson lined up and booted a perfect 41-yard field goal right down the pipe, until it wasn't. The ball took a left turn into the stands. Blown away. No Lance Stevenson in sight. The wind never let up, ending any hopes of a passing attack for Carr or Mayfield. The teams combined for 234 passing yards, and the wind kept a Cody Parkey field goal from making it a one-score game. The Raiders ran as fast as they could out of Cleveland with the 16-6 win. Rain, snow, Graupel, oh my. The wind game. There's games where teams had to deal with strong winds. Then there's the wind game. The 49ers and Bears met in 2005 in Soldier Field. The wind took over the game from the jump. It wouldn't matter if it was the starting quarterback, Chicago's Kyle Orton, or the fourth stringer, San Fran's Cody Pickett. Trying to throw a ball was comical. 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts that switched directions on a whim made it impossible to do anything, like keeping hats on or accurately snapping punts. Even the automatic kicker Robbie Gould was no match for the wind.
I mean, it would help, I think, if these stadiums had a roof, like a retractable roof. That would help the wind tremendously.
Shoving his attempt 30 yards off its spot. Trash flew throughout the stadium. Players couldn't even stand up. San Fran lined up for a 52-yard field goal. It obviously was short after a strong gust caught it. Bears corner Nathan Vasher caught the kick over his shoulder and darted to his left before reversing field behind a convoy of Bears blockers.
Nice.
Vasher's return touchdown set the record for longest play in NFL history at 108 yards. It would be the only big play the wind would allow, with the Bears winning 17-9. The Leon Lett Game. It would take a rare Dallas snowstorm to bring one of the most blizzard finishes in NFL history. It was a Thanksgiving game like no other. A 5-degree day when the Cowboys faced off against the Dolphins. It set the stage for one of sports' biggest blunders. Up 14-13 with seconds remaining, Miami kicker Pete Stoyanovich lined up for the game-winning 41-yard kick. A Dallas defender knifed...
This is insane. I mean, come on. This is... You can't even see the lines, the yard lines.
Knifed through and blocked a piece of the ball. Dallas wins, right? As the ball died harmlessly on the snow, Leon Lett inexplicably tried to dive and save a ball he didn't need to. If he did nothing, the game ends. Instead, Miami would get a new life and a second kick from the 1-yard line they easily booted through. The Pickle Juice Game.
Man, I bet that guy was devastated after that. After he realized what he did.
Crazy weather games deal with frigid temperatures and wind, but the 2000 season opener between Dallas and Philly brought on Hades himself. The temperature in Texas Stadium read 109 scorching degrees, the hottest in NFL history. Come to think of it, the Cowboys don't have much luck when it comes to crazy weather games. The two teams were even on paper, but there was one X factor that no one accounted for: Pickle Juice. Philly downed Pickle Juice before the game, keeping McNabb and the Birds fresh while Dallas cramped under the Texas heat wave. It didn't take long before Philly was taking it to Dallas. As Cowboys dropped like flies, the Eagles soared to a 41-14 domination.
Hold on, Pickle Juice? Is he saying that Pickle Juice, they all drank Pickle Juice and that helped them in their performance? Pickle Juice?
Dominating win with over 200 punishing yards on the ground. The Blizzard Bowl.
I'm confused.
Behind all that snow, you can see McCoy torching the Lions. An intense snowstorm dropped on the East Coast just an hour before kickoff of a Week 14 matchup between the Eagles and the Lions. 6 inches of snow stopped anybody from cutting, tackling, or even attempting a field goal. The two stars of the game, Eagles running back LaShawn McCoy and Lions receiver Jeremy Ross, combined for 4 50-plus yard TDs. That's simply because the footing was so bad. If you caught the seam, no one was going to tackle you. Trying to juke a defender was a waste of time. Stafford struggled just getting the snaps. Running backs couldn't keep their hands on the wet ball, and running any complicated routes was a surefire way to slip and fall.
How many NFL teams have a stadium with a roof? It seems quite rare in the league. I think probably the new SoFi Stadium has a roof. Does it?
The fourth quarter went to the Eagles behind McCoy,
the Allegiant
who was kicking up snow like a snowplow as he charged into the end zone. It was, honestly, one of the coolest games in recent history.
Crazy.
The Mud Bowl. The 1996 divisional game between the Packers and the 49ers became what every kid dreamed of in his backyard, an absolute slogfest. It was as glorious as it sounds. Two teams filled with legends of our game, slipping and sliding.
Absolute filth. The uniforms are all caked up in mud. It reminds me of back when I was in secondary school, when we'd be playing football, like at lunchtime, and it would be muddy in your white shirt, because we'd wear uniforms. Our white shirt would be all brown and muddy. Fun times, man.
Throughout the mud, temperatures dipped and rose around near freezing, causing a disgusting slosh of rain and snow, creating a huge tractionless puddle of mud. And it got muddier and muddier as the game went on. The teams combined for 7 turnovers. The X factor was Green Bay's Desmond Howard. While everyone looked like they were literally stuck in mud, Howard had 3 massive punt returns. 2 he scored on, and 1 that led to a Favre touchdown. The field was so muddy, Howard had to start slowing down as he broke the plane of the end zone, slipping as he broke out his signature Heisman pose. The Packers easily took the game 35-14 behind Howard, who would end up being Super Bowl MVP in '96.
Nice.
The Freezer Bowl. The 1981 AFC Championship game found the Chargers and Bengals
You know it's cold when you can see your breath.
competing for a shot at the Super Bowl in the coldest wind chill game ever recorded. The negative 59-degree wind chill was especially shocking to the Chargers, who played Miami in 88-degree heat just a week before. That's a difference of 147 degrees playing time temperature. The wind and cold was so bad the Bengals elected to kick off both halves and put the wind behind them. It's one of only 8 times that ever happened. The strategy paid off as they led the entire game. Players' breathing looked like car exhausts in the winter. Bengals QB Ken Anderson dominated like it was 60 degrees, not 60 below, throwing them to an AFC championship and their first Super Bowl berth, the Fog Bowl.
Crazy, man.
The beginning of the Fog Bowl was much like any other divisional playoff game, highly contested and entertaining. The Bears,
I suppose, there's probably little sympathy for the players who have to play in those kind of conditions, minus 60, because they're often paid, many, many millions of dollars per season. But still, it must be so cold. And, getting hit, getting tackled and stuff in that temperature while your muscles aren't, really operating at their best and stuff.
led Philly 17-9 at half. When they came back out, neither team could see their opponents.
Anything.
A massive cloud of fog rolled in right on the playing field. Camera crews and announcers, fans in the stands, coaches on the sideline, no one could see the action of the game. Referees announced the down and distance before every snap for the rest of the game. With the thickness of the fog, they halted play before the second half kickoff and asked both teams if they wanted to postpone the game. Neither rival budged. It was a grudge match between longtime friends and rivals, Buddy Ryan Ryan and Mike Ditka. The eerie game continued. Players said it was like entering a new dimension. In the twilight zone, the Bears held on to their lead to beat the Eagles. Without being able to see the guy next to them, they banded together to win 2012. The tuck rule game.
I mean, that's kind of dangerous, not being able to see, a meter in front of you. Because what if there's a player running at full pace towards you? He can't see you, you can't see him until the last moment, and then bang!
A massive snowstorm covered Foxborough, the setting we would need for one obscure rule to change the direction of football and create a dynasty. The upstart Patriots with Tom Brady took on a star-studded Raider team in the playoffs. The weather changed at the very last second, from just a regular January game to 4 inches of snow coming down in just 2 hours. The result was a game right out of your grandma's favorite snow globe. It was perfect for playoff football. Driving down for the game-winning score, Charles Woodson blindsided Tom Brady, knocking the ball out for the Raiders to recover and win, or so they thought. The refs reviewed it and stated that because the QB didn't tuck the ball away, it would be ruled an incomplete pass. With newfound life, the Pats would win the game and their first Super Bowl that season.
Wow.
Now infamously named the tuck rule game, the controversial rule is still brought up between fans nearly 20 years later. The Ice Bowl.
Crazy.
The Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys met for the 1967 NFL Championship on New Year's Eve in Green Bay. Little did they know they were about to play in the coldest game in NFL history. How cold? At game time, it was negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit with an average wind chill of minus 36 degrees Fahrenheit. To put that in perspective, a couple of things happened. The marching band dropped from their pregame and halftime shows when literally 7 of their members were sent to the hospital for hypothermia. The game was so frigid, referees refused to use their whistles after the opening kickoff and just yelled loudly when a player was down instead.
Is it because they didn't want the whistles getting stuck to their mouths, I'm guessing?
All it took was the head ref ripping the skin of his lips off on a whistle. Instead of scabbing up, the blood just froze right to his lips. Cowboys running back Dan Reeves recalls just how bad it was. I got up and my face mask was gone. I didn't know what happened, but I needed to replace my mask. When I got to the Signline heater, blood started gushing everywhere. A tooth went through my upper lip and didn't bleed. Now that's cold, but that's only half of it. The Packers' state-of-the-art turf heating system kicked the bucket the morning of the game. So not only was it the coldest game ever, moisture on the field froze right on top. A thick sheet of ice replaced the gridiron, and the Packers and Cowboys were now playing football on a hockey rink. The conditions only grew worse as the game went.
I'm sure a lot of them players got injured, man. Playing full contact football on basically like concrete type surface.
The sheet of ice growing thicker and the wind chill dropping as shadows casted on the field. Once holding a 14-0 lead, the Packers were now down 17-14, with just one drive left to three-peat. That led to what became known as the block, where Jerry Kramer opened a wedge for legendary QB Bart Starr to sneak into. If he failed, time would expire. Stars in! Stars in! All 50,000 of the insane Packer backers stormed the icy field and tore down the goalpost. The Ice Bowl set the stage for the NFL rise to America's sport.
Nice. Yeah, you have to say, in each of those games, the players and the refs, everybody involved earned their money that day. Just playing full contact football, on a surface where it's pretty much frozen solid. There's no sort of give in the turf. It's just rock solid because of the ice. Must not be fun at all. And just the coldness of it. If you're standing still for any period of time, you are immediately gonna feel freezing cold. You need to basically be constantly moving to keep that body temperature up. So if you're sat on the bench, I feel bad for you. Crazy stuff. These dudes, they're tough. You've got to be tough. I suppose this is the thing. If you want to make it into the NFL and reap the rewards, the financial rewards and everything else, you've got to deal with this as well. You've got to take the good with the bad, baby. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.